Welcome into your Chiefs pregame show, everybody. This is Kingdom Kickoff. I'm Noah Gronniger, as always, alongside Clint Switzer and our man down there, Rich Baldinger, former Kansas City Chief, former KCTV5 pregame host. That's our man. And we want to get this thing started off with last week, kind of get Rich, your thoughts on what happened in that Washington game. We have an interview with Joe Theismann coming up, talking a little bit about that, the state of the Chiefs. But Rich, let's start it off. Your thoughts on what happened last week with the Chiefs' big win over the Washington football team.
Well, it's great to anytime you can go on the road and win a game in the National Football League. We know how difficult it is, and especially the way the Chiefs performed in the second quarter. As we were talking before the start of our show here, you just can't make turnovers like that on the road and think that you're going to come away successful. But did some things in the third quarter, finally got some things going. Patrick just simply marvelous. I know everybody wants to talk about the one mistake that he had, but overall, I mean, his ability to scramble. And I'm going to tell you what, folks, the biggest play we can put in this offense right now is let's just run quarterback draw. I mean, if they're going to play cover two and drop people and robber baron on receivers and just turn and run, then Patrick, run for 30 yards every play. Just go ahead and do it. Let's make them say so. Put him in, but simply amazing on his scrambling, how he saves this offense and things that he does. I mean, you can understand why he is the elite of the elite in the National Football League. But put some things together defensively. I'll tell you what, if we can get anywhere near the quarterback, cold beer's on me, guys.
Well, that certainly remains to be seen. Rich, going back to last week, we saw the first half, the Chiefs trailing at halftime. People, you checked out social media, man, and it was sort of a negative windfall, so to speak, of finger pointing and things going wrong. You're down 13-10 at Washington, a team that just hasn't really shown much this year. And somehow a light bulb must have went on, and this team came out and played to its capabilities in the second half. Is it possible? You've been in NFL locker rooms, your whole career, Rich. Have you ever seen a game where a light bulb literally went on at halftime and that sort of carried over not only into the second half, but to the next game as well? Because that's what you're going to be hoping for this week.
Yeah, you're hoping for. I mean, there were some good things. We kept this team Washington under 100 yards rushing, and for this defense, that's monumental, right? We should be popping the champagne. So, yeah, you would think it would be, but it seems like it's not, guys. This has been a roller coaster ride for this team. Up one week, down the next. You think you go out to Buffalo, you come home to Buffalo, right? At home, Sunday night, you're thinking, and then, Honey Badger comes on in his interview after the game and says, well, there wasn't really a sense of urgency. Well, what do you mean? I mean, you're not even – I mean, I don't even think you rank in the Kansas City high school area for defensively. So it's so bad over there. So how you don't come out and perform like that, I don't know. This is up to these guys on the field. You always talk about coaching, but sooner or later, man, it's you. It's when you cross that white line, you have to play at a different level. You're professional. And people talk, well, no, it's not different. It's the same. It doesn't matter if it's now or 50 years ago. You cross the white line, he's come to play. And this team has not found consistency. And, I think it's what's going to prove to be the difference maker. Whether we go to the playoffs, go in far in the playoffs, or whatever happens, it's going to be the inconsistency in this team this year. Is that because of coaching, talent? I think it's both.
Yeah, and what do you make of the mistakes we've seen early on this season? It happened again in Washington. We saw blown coverage with Ben Neiman against our good friend Ricky Seals-Jones at tight end there for Washington. We see Mahomes with the interception that you just can't have, drops the snap, rolls out, tries to make something happen when he just should have ate it and get the 3 there because you're already in the red zone. You already got the 3. What do you make of these mistakes that we keep seeing week in and week out?
It's all about concentration. It's all about doing the little things. We talked about the one with Tyreek. There's been nobody better that in this National Football League. And I always look at these little things. When you see Tyreek go for the ball, watch the first half and watch the second half. Second half, he goes after the ball. Believe me, and Abrams' tank will not stop him from getting that football. He will grab that ball in the air. In the first half, the ball just comes off his hand like it's like a tip drill. You're in the red zone. So figure, guys, what did we lose in the first half? Probably 10 points at least. That it's a different game now if you do that. And we didn't. So, this team still has only punted, 10 times this year? I mean, we've moved the ball, but absolutely just – I don't know. We've discarded just doing the little things, and it just adds up. And I know it's a cliche about taking care of the little, but it isn't. It's not a cliche. And this team has shown you why they've been successful in the past is because they've taken care of the ball, because they do all the right things. Come back to the ball, extend their arms, take the ball out of the air, turn, make a move, put the ball away high and tight. Haven't done that all the time. And it's, and you've got to learn that if you don't do it every time in the National Football League, they're so good at stripping the ball, they'll find a way to get it from you. And that's what happened with the Chiefs in the second quarter.
Well, guys, it's certainly not as if Rich Baldinger is not enough for us here on Kingdom Kickoff. We enjoy it every week, but we got to take it a step even further this week because we're able to catch up with our good friend Joe Theismann earlier in this week to talk about sort of the Chiefs, Washington, where the Chiefs are going, where Washington is going even. So we want to take you to some clips from that interview because we find it pertinent today as the Chiefs head into another key AFC battle. And, guys, Joe's just one of the best there is, one of the nicest guys in the business, and we hope you enjoy this, and we're going to head to that right now. Welcome to the show. It's so great to have you, and it's so great to do this again. But we were wanting to do a pregame for Chiefs and Washington football teams. So now we're kind of doing a post game, I guess, in this sense.
Yeah.
The Chiefs come out on top 31-13 after a first half that looks like Washington had some things figured out. The Chiefs were committing dumb penalties, making mistakes. But in the end, the Chiefs kind of ran away with it. What was kind of your takeaway from the game yesterday?
I thought that, Washington is not good enough to make mistakes. Missed an interception, missed an opportunity at a touchdown, missed a field goal. The field goal came at a very critical time. It was a 10-point swing because when they missed a field goal in the third quarter, all of a sudden Kansas City goes down and scores a touchdown. I think that we just can't score points. I mean, we've been anemic, not just this year, but last year. And a defense that was ranked, third, I think, or second in the league a year ago, now is really struggling. But there is an epidemic in professional football. And it's not a pandemic, it's an epidemic. And it's called defensive backs can't tackle.
Yes.
Did you watch?
We're familiar with that here in Kansas City.
But everybody, all of them, except for the Honey Badger. He is just, I just love watching him play. I love his passion. I was watching on the 3rd down and 16 that Washington converted. There's 2 plays that you can run on 3rd and 16. You can run a go and you can run a screen. And I think that's what he was so upset about.
Yeah.
But to me, it seems like, and this isn't just Kansas City or Washington, this is absolutely across the board where defensive backs try and body block these running backs. And it's like, are you kidding me? Really? You won't get hurt as much if you actually try and wrap your arms around them, as opposed to trying to throw something into their legs with your eyes closed and just flat miss them outright.
Yeah.
And it is an epidemic. Now, from a Kansas City standpoint, watching the game yesterday, I thought Tariq was unbelievable. He had another one go through his hands, which is unfortunate. And then the one that Patrick is learning, I think that all he needs to do is get the ball to other people. He is so much fun to watch. He's so talented and he's so freaking good that, sometimes the lookaways and the trying to make a play, he throws an interception, hanging one up in the air, trying to make a play. Then he does one of those jump in the middle of a crowd throws, and he winds up with a completion on the 3-yard line.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you, this is probably, Andy, and I've known Andy for years, and I think the world of him. I mean, when Andy won the Super Bowl, I said, Santa Claus finally got his present, because that's sort of the way I look at him. But he, Patrick is one of those guys where you just want to make him understand what his talent level is and allow other people to be able to do their job. We're facilitators at the quarterback position. That's all we are. And like I said, he's special with his movements. I think I've always felt it was a perfect marriage with he and Andy. And he just, if he doesn't hurt himself or do something a little crazy, this is a very difficult offense to stop, to be honest with you. Yeah. Your weapons everywhere. You can take the top off of defense. You can run the ball effectively. Patrick moves extremely well. He has a great pocket presence. Like I say, he's fun to watch, and he's just really terrific. I mean, he's what, I look at it this way. There's guys in the league that are making a lot of money. I don't know if they're worth it. He's worth every penny.
Well, Joe, I would ask you a little bit more about Patrick Mahomes. It's been kind of a rough start for us here in Kansas City at 3-3. I know the Lions would kill for that record, but here in Kansas City, we're not used to that. Mahomes had 6 interceptions all last season, already has 8 this year through 6 weeks. Looks rattled, uncomfortable in the pocket. We're seeing opponents playing this cover 2 shell that's making them have these methodical drives. Doesn't seem to trust his defense. Just, it feels like the weight of this team is on his shoulders. He's pressing. What would you say to Patrick if you had the chance to talk to him, kind of calm him down, get him back to peak Patrick Mahomes form?
Play like you played the second half of the Washington game. That's Patrick Mahomes. That's drop back, get the ball out of your hand, throw it with authority. Get the ball to Kelsey. Let him be your igniter. Let him be the one that keeps things moving for you. And then you make plays good. And then you get out of bounds. You take care of yourself just like he's done. It was like 2 separate halves of football watching Patrick play on Sunday. He didn't look comfortable. He looked a bit tentative. And that's a good pass rush. I know the defense is ranked last in the league, but those 4 guys up there can bring it up front, and they did. And Patrick did a really nice job of navigating around them on occasion and making plays. But that second half of the Washington game was vintage Patrick Mahomes. That's the guy that everybody expects to see in Kansas City. That's all of us that are a fan of the game expects to see. But I saw a much more decisive individual. And I think, that's all you can do. If one unit is struggling, if the defense is struggling, the offense, and normally the quarterback tries to make up for it. If the offense is struggling, the defense tries to make up for it, and they take maybe 1 or 2 more chances that allows a team to be able to score and get a cheap score on it because you took a chance. You didn't fill your lane properly. You didn't take the right drop. If you're in cover 2, you didn't get to your quadrant of the field. You cheated a little bit because you thought they were going to run the in route and they run a double move. And all of a sudden you're standing there, with your hands in the air and tapping your chest going, my bad. That's something I get a kick out of though, right? Guy runs right by somebody. Okay. And the guy goes, my bad. Well, who else are we going to blame?
Clips with Joe Theismann early this week. You got to love Joe. Joe is just incomparable, great guy. And it looks like in the annals of time, you never had a chance to line up and play against Joe. The Chiefs, in fact, have only played Washington 12 times ever. The Chiefs are 10-1-1 in history against Washington. That's kind of a crazy stat. So moving on, though, got the Titans this week. And Rich, the main question is this. Everybody's, talked about this and since the game, since last week. Derrick Henry, we know how great he is. He's got almost 800 yards, 10 touchdowns on the season. If you're the Chiefs and you're a struggling defense, how? That's my question. How?
Well, I think, first of all, you want to force Tannehill to throw the ball. This is an offense now. Yes, we understand about Derrick Henry. We talked about his stats. But they've been slow starting, number 1. It's been an issue for them. And number 2, their red zone has not been. I think they're ranked about 20th. So they've had issues down there. So I think it's a way to stop Derrick Henry. Let's run blitz them. Let's go ahead. Take the chances. Let's not let this guy get going at all. Don't let him set the tempo of the game. Let's force Tannehill to say, okay, you've got those wide receivers, Julio Jones. Let's see you go down the field throwing the ball. Let's see if you can do this consistently and make the plays. I think you take Derrick Henry out of the game immediately like they did at Arizona. I don't know if you guys had a chance to look at their first game of the season. They simply came after these guys. And once they got Derrick Henry out of the game, it was over with. So that's where the Chiefs need to go. If you're going to gamble, that's what you got to do. I don't think you can play 7 in the box, 6 in the box against Derrick Henry because once he starts, we all know once the diesel gets going, he ain't going to slow it up.
Yeah, and let's take a look at the inactives for today for the Chiefs and Titans right here. Linebacker Anthony Hitchens out, so we're going to see more Ben Neiman. That could be a problem for the Chiefs there. Fullback Michael Burton out, so we'll see what the Chiefs can do in some short yardage. Maybe they go with Rose Bowl right again. For the Titans, Taylor Lewan at offensive tackle, their safety Amani Hooker. So that could be some good news for the Chiefs there, trying to get after Derrick Henry with Taylor Lewan out. It looks like maybe Kendall Lamb will slide in there at left tackle. And then with Amani Hooker out, that could be good news for Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce making way in that secondary.
Yeah, I would think if this is a game defensively, we've got to be able to give some type of pressure with the front four. I know we can't. You live by the blitz, you die by the blitz. But I want to run blitz on first and second down and let my front four win. I even think Quessenberry over at the other tackle is very question mark too. So for Frank Clark or whatever, I mean, whatever we have to do up there defensively, move people around, stand people up, walk people around, get people in the gaps. Let's do something. Let's play some games up front. But, 7 sacks on the year so far for the Kansas City Chiefs. Washington, Joe Theismann made a great point. His defense right now, numbers-wise in Washington, is not where they were last year. But that front four, Chase Young, that's what I talk about a get-off. That's what, and Monte Sweat on the other side, that's on the snap of the ball. They are gone, and they're getting tackles turned immediately. That's where we lack. So if we don't have that, we got to find ways to help our guys get that quick start. So to me, go ahead, play all the games you can, but we've got to find a way to pressure, because I think Tannehill's the same way. You get him off the mark, it's a performance throwing the football. It's nothing like Patrick's.
Baldy, we talked 2 weeks ago about how this was a crossroads game against the Buffalo Bills, that, hey, if you take this route, you're looking at an uphill battle. You're looking at trying to keep your head above water while other teams are exerting themselves in division races and the playoffs. I think we're kind of there again, Rich, and I think that this might be the final crossroads for the Kansas City Chiefs. Not that you can't turn this around, but if you go start 1-4 in the AFC, any talk about a division, I'm sorry, it's over. You've got to win this game because you've got Giants coming up, Rich, and then you got Packers coming up. Then you're going to Las Vegas. You got to start winning some of these games. Chiefs fans, Baldy, as much as I love them, they keep trying to kick the can down the road. Like, oh, well, if we could just next week start getting it back together, then it's okay. You lose this 3-4, no problem. We'll get back to 4-4 against the Giants. To me, Rich, it's time to draw a line in the sand, as Walter Solchek would say from the Big Lebowski. Behind this line, you do not cross.
Well, I think we ought to begin with, how about if we just don't turn the football over? How about it? Because
let's start there. Yes.
Let's start there. And the thing about a lot of these turnovers that are creating, it's not like we're taking big hits. It's not like we're getting caught in a pile or something. It's like we're not taking care. We're not growing to get the ball, or we got a great jet sweep going, and all of a sudden we just let the ball fall out of our hands. So it's like, I think it's just concentration. Let's just get over that step, because this offense is going to move. And we know we're going to have issues with defense. I mean, the defense is what it is, guys. It's going to be an up and down. We're going to get some plays out of it. The Honey Badger, like Joe Theismann said, they wish they had a guy like that could tackle. And the tackling for the Chiefs is an issue. So offense, they can do good things. Let's not turn the football over. You'll score points. You'll win close football games, but you will win. Right now, the only thing that's going to take cake is, because right now we're sitting at a -8. Go back and look at all of Andy Reid's teams that went to the playoffs, guys. We were in the top five in turnovers. You're in the bottom like we are right now, you're not going to the playoffs. Bottom line, you won't make it. So they can do that. Chiefs offense can take care of that. Start there. We'll win this football game.
Well, that leads us perfectly into your keys to success for the Chiefs heading into this game in Nashville against the Tennessee Titans. So let's take a look at your keys to success.
Oh, there, let's go. It basically, guys, let the Chiefs, let's just take care of the ball, please. I mean, there's no reason for this. This is an issue that it's man-made. It's nothing else. There's nothing in the football. They're not deflating the footballs, I don't think. I don't think they're covering it with any type of pig grease or anything. So let's hold on to it like it's a diamond ring, and I guarantee you won't lose it. On the other side, I'm giving $1 million bonus for a sack today from anybody. Clint, you are online for this too. You get me a sack, buddy. The money's in the bank tomorrow morning for you.
Boy, I'm dialed in. I can get after it, man. Yeah, that's good keys to victory there. And I think that as we look at this and kind of get our predictions out there, I think back to 2 years ago when the Chiefs went to play Tennessee, and it was a crossroads game. Unfortunately, it was in a loss, But after that game, Steve Spagnuolo and this defense circled the wagons, and the Chiefs reeled off, 6 straight wins, I think, to end the season, and it set the pace for a Super Bowl title. I think today, guys, the Chiefs get off the schneid and they get it together, and really, facing this adversity and looking at how Tennessee played against the Buffalo Bills and what was a huge win for them. But the Chiefs cannot afford this loss, guys. Chiefs are going to go down to Nashville. All the fans that poured down there, and last night they were out at Broadway Street and they were getting into bars with no cover charges. Hattie B's Hot Chicken. That one's for you, Rich. That's my favorite place to eat in all of Nashville. And I see a look on your face right now. These fans poured down to Nashville.
Let's make a road trip. Why watch the game? Make a road trip for food.
We should all be there, guys.
On.
But the Chiefs emerged from this, and I think this is the time that we're going to look back to and say, hey, somehow the tables turn at the halftime of the Washington game. The Chiefs go in and they beat the Tennessee Titans 38-34, and it's happening today. Chiefs win this game, guys.
Well, this shirt was not an accident, not a coincidence. If the Chiefs have any prayer of winning this game, they're going to need Patrick Mahomes and this defense to come out and play like they did in that Washington game in the second half. I don't think they do it. They haven't shown me. We're in the show me state. They got to show me before I can get on this bandwagon and say, yeah, the Chiefs are going to win out. The Chiefs are going to do this. They're going to do that against a good football team. They haven't shown me they can do it against a good football team. So I've got the Titans 38-34. And if we do lose this game, if I am proven right, a storm is a brewing here in Kansas City at 3-4, my friends. Gone is the dreams of winning the AFC West. Gone is the dreams of getting the number 1 seed. And maybe, just maybe, gone are the dreams of making it to the playoffs. That's a real conversation if the Chiefs lose this game. Can they make the playoffs? So a storm will be a brewing if my prediction is right and they lose 38-34 to the Titans.
Can we pull the plug on Noah sooner than that, Clint? Can we pull the plug on him? So I want the power to go out on that, kind of like in California, a brownout there for Noah, Let's end it.
What about you, Rich? What's going to happen? Please tell me. Please just tell me that things are going to be okay. Can you hug me and tell me things are going to be all right?
I got to believe, number one, that our guys up front and the O-line are going to play better. Have to play better. That performance there in Washington, I understand that's a good defensive front, but we got to be better. And that is in run blocking. That is in pass protection, communication. That was not a good performance for us up front. Patrick was running for his life and did some amazing things. So I believe the guys up front do better. I think Steve Spagnuolo is going to find a way to corral Derrick Henry. I just don't. I know, listen, he's going to probably get his 100 yards, but if you hold him to 100, that's a win for the Kansas City Chiefs. I think they'll do some things. Watch offensively. I think you're going to see the Alex Smith offense come back in a sense like this. You're going to see some crossing patterns. Yes, crossing patterns. Just get the ball out of Patrick's hands quickly. Hit some crossing patterns. Let our athletes run. Joe Theismann makes a great point. Quarterback's a facilitator. Well, we've got too good of guys that, beginning with Tyreek, every time he touches a pigskin, it can go the other way for a touchdown. So that's my point. Let's just get the ball out quickly. Let's force these defenses now to say, you know what? We're not going to be able to sit back here all day long. We're going to have to attack them. We're going to have to play tighter. Let's bring some of that in. I think the Chiefs do that. I think the Chiefs come out on top of this game, 31-24. I think they're going to win this. They go on the road. For whatever reason, they know how to play on the road well. So let's see.
You're right. You're right about that. This has been a road team that has played traditionally better on the road under Patrick Mahomes for whatever reason that is. So we will see today, guys. It's week 7. It's time to start buckling up the chin straps. We're going to find out who is a contender, who's a pretender. Noah, you called it.
Clint, I think the thing is we talked about before the show, I think you get to this midpoint of the season where the Chiefs are at, and I'm talking about my front 5. They've got to be better because if this group doesn't start really coming together, gelling, you're talking about an offseason where we're going to have some major issues you're going to have to detail. Are we going to have to go get tackles? We got to get help defensively. How do you fill all these holes? So I'm just looking forward to, in terms of that, you know what, some guys got to start playing at a better level.
Yeah, we saw Brett Veach sort of have a knee-jerk reaction, so to speak, to the offensive line issues that took place in the Super Bowl. how do you have a knee-jerk reaction to all the remaining holes that are left now because of that? That's what, Rich, we could be getting into. We're going to get into that. Hopefully we aren't getting into that as the season progresses and that this team just gels and gets it figured out, and we're talking about good, happy things, and we're cuddling with our stuffed animals in bed like we should be, visions of division titles dancing in our heads come Christmas. Guys, always a pleasure here on Kingdom Kickoff. Enjoy the game. Enjoy it. I know, Rich, you're always easy like a Sunday morning, just like I am. Enjoy it, guys. Kingdom Kickoff. Thanks so much for joining us. Enjoy the game.